We're a desperate team that want to get back to playing finals footy.
Just try and enjoy the journey because it won't be there forever.
We're just trying to build respect and trying to change the perception around Melbourne Football Club.
Yeah, this is just an absolute gift showing us where we need to work on.
Best didn't get us the win, but all we can ask is to bring out the best we can bring.
Thinking, what have I done? How did it happen?
You don't just give kids games because they're high draft picks. That's as simple as that.
Your ticket into the heart of football. Welcome to the Breakfast Club's Inner Sanctum.
Yes, it's very nice to head to Tullamarine today and have a chat to Dylan Shiel from the Bombers and Inner Sanctum. Hello, Dylan.
Good morning, guys.
Nice to see you. No brace, looking pretty good. You're moving all right. You a couple of weeks?
A little bit longer than that. A couple of weeks would be really nice, but no, it won't be that.
How's it feeling? How are you going with your rehab?
It's good. I am progressing well. Knees feeling strong every day. Had a bit of a run yesterday on the Ultra G treadmill, and it's feeling really good. So there was a step in the right direction. Tell
us more about the Ultra G treadmill. I think they're fantastic machines, but some people out there might have very little idea what they are.
They're an incredible machine. It's basically, it is a treadmill that enables you to run at a lower percentage body weight. It fills up with, you sort of strap yourself in.
Yep.
Seal yourself in with these special knitted shorts that are attached to the bubble or whatever you call it, and it blows up, with air, and makes you lighter than what you are. So it sort of calibrates your body weight, and then you can sort of choose what you want to run at. So I was at about 70% body weight yesterday, so it took a nice bit of load off the knee, and I was able to have a bit of a run.
It's a good system, Whitey. It's a good system.
Yeah,
so if you're 100, let's just say you're 100 kegs, you want to go for a run. If you want to go 70%, the weight you're putting through your joints is 70 kegs. So
right.
It's fascinating. They're great machines. Great machines.
So, they're great because you can start running for a lower limb injury maybe a week or 2 weeks ahead of somebody who didn't have the machine and was waiting to build enough strength to run on the field.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They are pretty cool.
Yeah. How do you... we're talking to jockeys about this a bit too when they are suspended, how they keep their weight down, particularly with jockeys. They've obviously got to be very light. But in your situation, how do you do that? Because you're someone that's very particular with what you eat and you're very disciplined. Is it hard when you're out for such a long time, when you can't actually do physical exercise?
It all depends on the person and, how they... everyone's got a different body shape and metabolism operates different rates to everybody else, but you just got to have a balanced diet and, still got to exercise in any way I can when I can't run. So I'm still doing a lot of swimming and cycling and boxing and those sort of things. So, I'm able to get a fair bit of energy output and then I just got to eat appropriately to that. So
you haven't had to change anything when you're not playing to make sure you keep your body at a certain weight?
You can change a few things. I'm probably not going to be eating as much energy and, be looking to, fuel for main training sessions and games. I'm probably just going to be more stable throughout the week compared to guys that are playing week in, week out.
So do you know how many calories you consume a day versus how many you expend?
Yeah, so everyone's, you got a basal metabolic rate, which is when the energy you're burning while at, basically lying down doing nothing. And then, so that's, for me, it's around 1,800 to 2,000 calories. And then, from there, whatever you're burning, you consume that as well. So if if I was to burn 2,000 from sitting still, but then I burn 1,500 at training during that day, then I'd need to eat 3,500 just to maintain body mass.
Yep.
So I might know a little bit about this. Yeah, I've had to practice it a bit.
That's interesting. Because everyone can relate to that. Especially me at the moment doing my regime, Daniel. You got to. So I'm trying to get some tips.
How's the activity component of the regime?
That's that's what I'm asking, Dylan. I think Dylan with the one leg would do more physical exercise than I would at the moment.
Oh, I did nothing for a couple of weeks. Honestly, I was doing nothing.
Because that's what I was. Because a lot of people that are listening to this, one of the issues they have with their weight is that they can't do the physical exercise because they work long or they got kids and all that sort of thing, and that's the slippery slope. But, so how do you have that discipline to make sure that you're still at the level you need to be at?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, this is my observations, not advice to the public. That's for sure. But that's what we guys in the system or athletes are going to have their own methods and have their beliefs, and if they follow that pretty well, they usually go okay. But sometimes athletes can find themselves in an unhealthy habit or unhealthy eating habit, and it might be good for performance or body composition, but for overall health it may not be sustainable. So that's where I've been there before, and we need to make sure that we're talking to the club dietitians and nutritionists and making sure we're eating healthy still.
What's your food vice?
Like lollies, like the Natural Confectionery Company lollies.
They're hard to stop when you start on.
They're healthy though.
Well, once the bag's open, it's gone.
It's true. I'm a bit the same with those, I must admit.
Aren't they healthy?
No, they're not healthy.
They're natural.
They're not when you're eating them by the bag full.
Right.
They've got a lot of sugar.
It's got a lot of sugar.
Yeah, I can't have them in the house. I can't. Georgie has to hide them. My girlfriend.
Well, that's what we've had to do with the kids too. Our kids are just great. It's like they've never had anything nice and sweet in their lives. Every time it's in the house, it's gone within half an hour. It's very annoying because I like to have a little stash like Georgie would for hiding stuff, and the kids find it.
Yeah.
They know every nook and cranny of the house, and they just find it all the time. It drives me bananas.
Yeah.
It drives me absolutely bananas. The rehab life, are you sick of it yet? Because you're quite distant from the main group for a lot of the rehab situation. How are you finding that?
It can be challenging, especially if you're in a long-term sort of injury. It can have its challenges, mostly around the weekend when the game starts coming in and guys are preparing and in game mode. So I certainly miss that aspect. But in terms of during the week, I'm still pretty connected to the guys in the program. I'm participating in obviously meetings and game plan and all the little bits of training and in the gym. But when it comes to being out in the field, that's when we sort of split and the rehabbers go do their individual requirements and the main group go do their training. So that's the hardest thing. But it's just part of the job really. So injuries are a part of footy, and sometimes you just got to wear it and get back as soon as you can.
How are they tracking the Bombers in your eye at the moment when you are out there watching them? Training, how the things that Ben Rutten's trying to implement, but also the performances on game day. Obviously the win on Sunday was a good one.
Yeah, it was. It was a messy one. A little bit nervous towards the end there. Will Snelling. But
No.
No, but it was good. It was the guys just got a grit. We're in a bit of a phase, part of our development where wins aren't coming easily for our club and for our guys. So we just got to grit through this sort of phase in our development, and obviously we're being a part of really close games this year, probably more than any team in the comp. Not sure if that's fact or not, but it's great. It's great to be in the game and on the weekend be on the winning side of one, which is it was a good feeling for the guys, and certainly the mood was a lot better around the club during the week.
Funny about that.
Yeah, funny.
One of the observations, Dylan, was that I had about Essendon about potentially this is a sign of improvement, is that you didn't actually play particularly well, but you won the game. And I think a team, maybe in the past, in that situation, they wouldn't have won, but they just found a way to hit the line and not lose their nerve.
Yeah, it was a bit messy. But we still got to achieve what we wanted to achieve in certain parts of the game against Freo. They're a very good stoppage team with Fife and Mundy and Sarong, who ended up doing a job on merit. But we were able to prevent them from scoring from stoppage, and so there were things around the game that we knew that they were good at, that we were able to execute. Just didn't look that sexy on the field, but I'm sure the coaches and the players walked away with pretty happy with certain parts of the game.
One of the big, I guess, talking points of Essendon have been the improvements of individual players playing different roles. Most of that is happening in defence, but the Darcy Parish situation, he has been one benefit of you being out is that he's got that extra midfield time. Have you been surprised at how much he's elevated his game? I mean, he's become one of the premium midfielders in the competition.
Yeah, his rise has been phenomenal, and the way that he's been able to, he hunts the footy and can accumulate is as good as you can see in the competition at the moment. So yeah, it's great for Darst to be getting more midfield time. He was he's probably been frustrated at times when he's not playing midfield because he might be stuck playing in a forward role or outside. But that's just part of a team that's got some real good depth. Is that players have got to learn to play outside of their primary role, and hopefully when we become healthy again at Essendon, we sort of have that problem again where guys are rotating through the midfield quite heavily or forward, and guys are going back, and we see some of the best teams in the competition are really good at being able to cycle their plays through the midfield or different parts of the ground. So, but yeah, again, like Darcy's rise, his game on the weekend was really impressive. He's had a really good month, to be honest, and I wouldn't be surprised if opposition start turning their focus off Zach and probably towards Darcy because he's just having too much influence at the moment.
Has that surprised you, or has there been a mood around the club of finally the pennies dropped that he's become the player that he always promised? Because what he's doing now is what he was doing at under 18 level. Yeah. High draft pick, but he's doing all the things that he kind of promised but hadn't delivered for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, since I arrived at the club in 2019, he was quite noticeable the way he trained and the way he was able to perform at training, and then obviously showed glimpses of it in games, and then now it's like I feel like he's always shown what he's been capable of at times. It's now just being able to do it over the length of a game and then doing it week after week. And he's certainly had his best patch of his footy in his career, and he's just sort of entering that age now where he's getting really consistent with his footy, and his bad games, trying to make his bad games not as bad as what they could be, and obviously his good games are improving as we would like. So it's it's been really good to see.
You're talking before about that the emergence of him and some other players through the middle of the ground, particularly. Do you sit there and try and put the pieces together? You talked about when you all get back together, what that might look like. Do you sit there and try and create visually what that might work out to be for Essendon when you're back and John Caldwell's back and Devon Smith is back, and see what it looks like?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, sort of watching the games and trying to see like how I'd play and where everyone's going to fit in. But I mean, that's ultimately the role of the coaches, and we sort of had a pretty good idea of that in pre-season, and when everyone was up and going and training and we were working on things, so we had a pretty good idea around what the team looks like. But I mean, now it's just a matter of staying healthy and getting more exposure to that, so accumulating more games as a group and growing the game plan.
And you mentioned Zach is getting a fair bit of attention at the moment. Teammates are coming to his defence, the coach is coming to his defence in the post-match presses. How's he going with a bit more of this physicality around the ball? Yeah,
I mean, it's just that's just a result of being a good player. Zach's a driven guy, and I'm sure he's embracing the contest. So yeah, it's if anything, it's a compliment, and he'd be unfazed by it. Yeah,
he's under a lot of focus, a lot of pressure at the moment because he hasn't signed. But the sort of development of him as a leader, from what you've seen this year, it's sort of, you're almost a fan, not being able to play. What have you noticed inside the footy club that perhaps you hadn't seen from him previously?
Just maybe he's obviously a very driven guy and very good at his professionalism and understanding his game. Probably the biggest growth I've seen from Zach coming off last year was just his awareness of others and around the club, and spending more time with other guys and helping them improve. I think that's probably been the biggest thing that's noticeable from the players, and they've enjoyed his authenticity around the club. It's been great.
Ben Rutten has said that it kind of could have been the best thing that ever happened for him to be left out of the leadership group, so he was probably made aware of perhaps some of his deficiencies from a leadership perspective, that he could go away, have a think about it, and come back a stronger leader as a result. Do you subscribe to that theory a bit? Yeah,
I mean, it stung him pretty hard, and he admitted that, and the way he sort of just went away on his work pretty quietly and didn't cause too much of a fuss after it, but he come back and had a really good year last year during trying circumstances, and he's been sort of recognised for that, and the guys have, really appreciated the way he's sort of gone about it, and he's just taken another step forward going into this year.
He came out in the paper and said, I haven't made up my mind whether I'm going to stay or not. I want to kind of see how the football club unfolds this year as to whether, I want to be part of the future, which is a real sort of Premier League, NBA sort of attitude to things. And I must confess, I quite liked it because he was honest. How was it received inside the footy club?
I couldn't tell you how many people would have read that. Yeah. But I mean, that's his right. Like,
because you've gone through it as well, obviously, with the Giants.
That's Zach's right. You can't be angry or frustrated or have really any sort of feeling towards someone's right. So he is entitled to be in this position and to have not made a decision. So I'm sure that everyone's really hoping that he stays. But if he doesn't, then he doesn't. But if he does, fantastic. It happens every year. There's players around the competition that are going to change clubs. And in the end, it's just a part of the game. It's we've had the football club's had to go through this in recent years with some serious talent leaving the club, and we've had to move on. We can't be dwelling on it. But when a guy of Zach's calibre remains at a club, then it can be incredibly encouraging for the future. So hopefully he certainly remains with us.
Sorry, I'm hogging here, but I'm going to say I'm going to ask one more. Is that all right?
Okay.
Is that all right? Sure.
Fine.
So
fine.
He's wanting to see change from what has previously been the case. Are you confident enough that there has been enough change from what you've seen to think, yep, Essendon's on the right track? That is a box that Zach will probably tick based on the changes you've seen. Because you've been big on the club needs to change. The club needs to get more professional and more consistent.
Yeah, I think the club has made some really big changes for the better in the last couple of years. It's just, how do you define change? I mean, I've seen some great change off field at the club, and in terms of the list and the support staff have made some really good changes. Just hasn't transferred to wins yet, and Zach's probably looking at that a bit more as well. Like, you can be the best operated club off field, but if you don't win, then it doesn't matter. Like, that's as harsh as it is. As much as we're focusing on, the process and doing the right thing, we're in the win or loss industry, and if you don't win, then it's going to be hard to keep players. So yeah, Zach is probably sort of waiting to see if the off-field change is going to transfer to on-field, and I'm confident it will.
So there's probably fans out there, particularly with contract talks, Zach at the moment, but anyone, any time in any club. Patrick Cripps at the moment, Marcus Bontempelli, all those, the big names particularly. There's probably an expectation from fans out there that because it's in the media, that commentaries and the stories are in the media about their contracts all the time, that the players just talk about that sort of stuff. When you're having your soy, chai, weak lattes.
Come on, mate.
I don't know. What are you having these days? Your bulletproof coffees?
Mate.
What are you having?
Latte with one.
So you're not a soyman?
No.
Good. Excellent.
I wasn't necessarily referring to you. You've taken that personally.
Well, I'm defending the players.
There'd be plenty of soy, chai, stupid things.
Yeah, there is. Dyson Heppel.
So they're not. You don't talk about those things, or do you talk about the status of contracts and whether you're staying and that sort of stuff? Does it come up at all, or not?
Nah, honestly, not. Well, at our club, not really. Not at all.
Having to the Giants all the time.
We talk a lot about other things. Crypto.
You're into crypto.
Play a lot of cricket in the change room.
Yeah,
good.
Obviously, the guys like to talk about their dating life and things like that. All the interesting things.
Yeah.
In terms of contracts and that, not really.
Because in the end, it's no one's business, is it? And even though I'm sure there's conversations with mates that, like, if you're really tight with Zach at season's end, it hasn't happened, you're probably asking, what's going to happen? What are you going to do, mate?
I mean, I think there's a platform for it. There's a time and a place where, if you want to have a conversation with a teammate about what his plans are, then, there is a way to go about it. But, in terms of an open forum and in front of players or that, and then, it's probably not, comfortable for a player to be talking about something that's quite personal for them. Like it's their wage, it's how they generate income. I know that other competitions around the world, they publicise what a player's earning, but we're not there yet, and so we don't have to talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, I completely respect guys who don't want to talk about it to other players.
Yeah, I've got no problem with
Yeah.
that. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned what's different. Things have changed over the last couple of years at the Bombers. This year, Ben's taken over as full-time coach, but he was effectively coaching a lot of the year last year. Just from a coaching, day-to-day coaching method and conversation, how has he changed?
Well, he's certainly enjoying the role. Like, it looks like he's really embracing, that position of head coach, and just kind of looks like he was, sort of made for it. He's done a lot of work over the recent years and learnt a lot since becoming a coach. So it looks like he, the way that he's operated our footy program since taking over the reins has been really good. And probably the word I'd say would be consistent, regardless of the result. It can be really. I'd imagine it'd be really challenging being a head coach of a big football club where, there's a lot of noise after a win or loss, and Ben doesn't let that noise influence the way he coaches the group or goes about meetings. It's very consistent because he's got a vision in mind, and he's on his way to executing that.
And his ability to change roles for people. So we've got a situation where James Stewart's playing key back, Jaden Laverde goes key back, Nick Hine comes to the club, running back. He'd done a little bit of that. How much of that is his influence being a defender, and how much of it is more just the coaching group that these guys have made these stunning transformations?
Incredibly biased of him being a defender. He thinks everybody should be a defender. No, but like that's those guys that you mentioned, and same with Dyson going back other sort of nuances of guys' games. He's had a massive influence on that with the other coaches as well. Had end of year reviews at the end of last year, and had some real deep and meaningful conversations with players, and how much he values them, and in terms of where they play and how they play, and someone like Jaden Laverde is a great example. He was drafted as a talented athletic forward, and it probably just didn't work out for him in his initial years, with a few injury setbacks and form, and the way he's embraced Ben's suggestion to be going back. Like he could have said no. Like everyone's got a bit of everyone's got a choice, but he's embraced it. And now he's been one of our best defenders all year, and that's largely off his connection with Ben and development with him. So it's he's having a good influence on the defenders.
There's a bit to like about the Bombers. 3-6 at the moment. The Kangaroos on Sunday, Marvel Stadium, 4:40. Check your local guides. Who is the best cricketer at the Essendon Change Room Cricket Ground?
Well, behind myself with the bat. Yesterday, spent about 30 minutes at the crease. Nick Cox couldn't get me out, even though the ball comes from about 3 metres high. I think Zach played. He was a cricketer at Melbourne Grammar, so he's very good. But it's just a different game in the change room. Like it's a shorter pitch. There's tape on the ball. There's no speed limit as well. So it can get real personal.
So it should.
It'd be more about who's a prevalent, who plays a lot of cricket, and it'd be Nick Cox and Hindy. Andy McGrath holds the bat like it's a hockey stick. I know he's Canadian, but it's hard to watch. And there's a few guys that just hate cricket because their lockers are right in the view of the batter. And it's it can be a dangerous place.
In the strike zone.
Yeah, well and truly.
Yeah. Did you play first 11 cricket at Caulfield, or were you just football and then you did badminton or something like that?
I was a shocking cricketer. I was a footballer. I really loved my basketball growing up.
Basketball background.
I kind of get flat when they don't mention that with me. It's only for Pendles. But yeah, I played a lot of basketball growing up, but at APS level, that's played at the same season as football, so that was a bit harder. But I did a bit of athletics in the summer, and I actually did lawn bowls.
Of course you did. I can promise you, when you get back out there, I will mention on any broadcast I'm on that you're a great basketball player. You have a basketball background.
I do have a basketball background.
Yeah, well, I'm going to make the world know that. I'm going to let them be alerted to the fact that you are
an awareness.
a basketball background graduate.
Please.
In the AFL, like everyone else. Good on you, mate. Nice to see you. Nice to see you out of the brace, and hopefully we do get the chance to see you out there sooner rather than later. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.